Have you ever felt like no matter how much effort you put in, she still seems to have her eyes on someone else? What if I told you there's a way to stand out naturally, so she chooses you, not because you chase her, but because she can't help but see your value? Today, we're diving into the psychology behind attraction and what makes a woman pick you even when she has many options. Stick around because these insights can completely change the way you approach relationships. Confidence is one of the most magnetic qualities a person can possess. It's not about arrogance or showing off. True confidence comes from a deep understanding of your own worth and an unwavering belief in yourself. When a woman has multiple options, what draws her attention is not the man who competes the loudest or chases the hardest. It's the man who knows his value without needing validation from anyone else. Confidence creates a sense of security and stability, which are traits that women instinctively notice and are attracted to. Many men make the mistake of comparing themselves to others, thinking that they need to win over someone else to be chosen. This approach is flawed because it comes from a place of insecurity. Women are skilled at sensing insecurity even if it's subtle. When a man constantly measures himself against others or tries to outdo them, he unintentionally signals a lack of self-assurance. On the other hand, a confident man operates from a place of abundance. He doesn't worry about competition because he understands that his value isn't diminished by someone else's presence. This mindset alone can set him apart in a crowded dating environment. Confidence also influences the way a man communicates. A confident man speaks clearly, maintains eye contact, and listens actively. His body language is relaxed but purposeful, and he engages without over-explaining or seeking approval. These behaviors convey self-respect, which women find naturally attractive. When a woman interacts with a man who is confident, she feels a sense of ease around him. She doesn't feel pressured or manipulated. Instead, she experiences genuine respect and authenticity. This emotional comfort plays a crucial role in making her feel drawn to him, even if there are other potential partners around. Another aspect of confidence is decisiveness. A man who knows what he wants and isn't afraid to take initiative demonstrates leadership qualities that women value. This doesn't mean controlling or domineering behavior. It means having clarity about personal goals, boundaries, and intentions. Confidence allows a man to act without overthinking every step or being paralyzed by fear of rejection. This decisiveness creates an impression of strength and reliability, which naturally positions him as someone worth choosing in a sea of options. Importantly, confidence doesn't mean ignoring self-improvement. It's not about pretending to be perfect or hiding flaws. It's about embracing them and continuing to grow. Women are drawn to men who are evolving and have a sense of purpose. When a man is confident, he doesn't compete superficially with others. He competes with his own past self, aiming to be a better version of himself every day. This internal focus creates a magnetic aura that makes a woman notice and value him more than others who might rely on external tactics or validation. Confidence also has a ripple effect on other areas of life. A confident man naturally attracts social respect, professional opportunities, and a sense of independence. Women observe this stability and self-sufficiency, often without even realizing it. In a scenario where she has multiple options, the man who exudes quiet confidence stands out because he brings a sense of calm, competence, and reliability. He isn't desperate to prove himself or compete for attention. His presence alone communicates that he is secure and self-sufficient. Finally, confidence is about embracing authenticity. A man who is comfortable in his own skin doesn't feel the need to wear masks or act differently to impress someone. He engages genuinely, expresses his opinions respectfully, and honors his own values. This authenticity resonates deeply because it signals honesty and integrity, qualities that surpass superficial attraction. When a woman sees a man who embodies true confidence, she is naturally inclined to gravitate toward him, even in a situation where multiple options exist. Emotional connection is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. It's what transforms casual interest into genuine attraction and loyalty. When a woman has multiple options, what often determines her choice isn't physical appearance, money, or social status. It's the depth of the emotional bond she feels with a man. Emotional connection is about understanding, empathy, and the ability to communicate on a level that goes beyond surface level interactions. A man who can create this connection naturally becomes someone she feels safe with, valued by, and ultimately drawn toward. The first step in building an emotional connection is active listening. Many men focus on impressing a woman with stories, achievements, or jokes, but listening carefully and responding thoughtfully often has a far stronger impact. When a man listens without interrupting, judges less, and responds with empathy, he signals that he genuinely cares about her thoughts and feelings. This creates a sense of emotional intimacy, which is rare and highly valued. Women notice when someone invests in understanding them rather than trying to perform or compete, and this emotional investment often becomes a decisive factor in her preference. Vulnerability is another essential element of emotional connection. Many men mistakenly believe that vulnerability makes them appear weak, but the opposite is true. Sharing personal experiences, fears, dreams, and even failures demonstrates courage and authenticity. When a man allows himself to be vulnerable, it encourages a woman to open up as well, creating a mutual sense of trust and closeness. Emotional bonds deepen when both parties feel safe to share their true selves, which makes a man far more attractive than someone who remains emotionally distant or guarded, regardless of his other qualities. Consistency also strengthens emotional connection. A man who shows up emotionally, remembers details about her life, and checks in sincerely demonstrates that he values her beyond fleeting attraction. Consistency signals reliability and investment in the relationship, which builds trust over time. Women are highly sensitive to patterns of behavior rather than words alone. Actions that show genuine care, thoughtfulness, and emotional presence make a man stand out, especially in a context where she may be interacting with other options who are inconsistent or superficial. Empathy plays a central role in forming emotional bonds. Understanding her emotions, validating her experiences, and responding with compassion creates a feeling of being truly seen and understood. Women are drawn to men who can emotionally resonate with them because it fulfills a deep psychological need for connection. When a man demonstrates empathy without judgment or pressure, it creates a safe space where she feels emotionally nurtured. This connection often becomes more compelling than any external factors like wealth, status, or appearance. Shared experiences also enhance emotional connection. Engaging in meaningful conversations, working toward common goals, or even enjoying simple activities together strengthens the bond between a man and a woman. These shared moments create memories and associations that are emotionally significant. Women often choose men with whom they have these emotionally rich experiences because it forms a sense of partnership, understanding, and mutual support that cannot be easily replicated by others. Finally, emotional connection is reinforced by nonverbal cues. Eye contact, touch, tone of voice, and genuine smiles communicate care and interest far more effectively than words alone. A man who is emotionally attuned can pick up on subtle signals, respond appropriately, and make a woman feel valued and understood on a deeper level. Emotional connection is about creating a sense of resonance where she feels that her inner world is acknowledged and appreciated. Value and uniqueness are powerful qualities that set a man apart in the eyes of a woman, especially when she has multiple options. Women are instinctively drawn to men who stand out, not because of superficial traits or material possessions, but because of the depth, purpose, and individuality they bring into their lives. True value comes from self-awareness, personal growth, and the ability to contribute meaningfully to relationships, society, or life in general. When a man embraces his uniqueness and demonstrates authentic value, he creates an attraction that cannot be replicated or easily compared to others. Understanding one's own value is the first step in this process. Many men rely on external validation, trying to impress women with things like status, possessions, or attention-seeking behaviors. However, women are naturally perceptive. They notice when someone's confidence and worth come from within rather than from outside approval. A man who is aware of his strengths, passions, and purpose radiates a sense of self-sufficiency and direction. This internal sense of value communicates stability, competence, and emotional security, all of which make him far more appealing than men who are constantly competing for attention or approval. Uniqueness is equally important. A man's individuality can come from his interests, talents, mindset, or even the way he approaches life. When he embraces what makes him different and does not conform to societal pressures or trends just to fit in, he stands out naturally. Women are drawn to authenticity because it signals honesty, integrity, and self-respect. Uniqueness also creates intrigue. A man who has his own hobbies, thoughts, and lifestyle encourages curiosity and engagement, making a woman more likely to choose him over someone who blends into the crowd or lacks distinct qualities. Expressing value and uniqueness is not about bragging or trying to force admiration. It's about living intentionally and consistently showing what makes you distinct. This can be demonstrated through actions, decisions, and behavior rather than just words. For example, a man who pursues his passions, maintains meaningful relationships, and invests in personal growth communicates that he has substance. Women naturally notice men who are moving forward in life with purpose because it shows that he can bring stability, inspiration, and growth into a shared connection. Another important aspect of value is emotional intelligence. A man who can navigate his emotions, understand others, and respond thoughtfully adds significant depth to his character. Emotional intelligence complements uniqueness because it allows a man to express his individuality in a way that is relatable, compassionate, and attractive. Women are drawn to men who balance strength with sensitivity, ambition with empathy, and independence with connection. These qualities signal that he is not only confident in his value, but also capable of nurturing meaningful relationships. Value and uniqueness also extend to integrity and principles. A man who knows what he stands for and consistently honors his values demonstrates reliability and trustworthiness. Women naturally gravitate toward men whose actions align with their words because this predictability and honesty create a foundation for emotional safety. The combination of unique qualities, purpose, and integrity makes a man far more desirable than someone who lacks depth or tries to imitate others. Additionally, cultivating value often involves creating experiences that inspire or uplift those around him. Whether through acts of kindness, mentorship, or creative expression, a man who enriches the lives of others demonstrates that his presence is meaningful. This sense of contribution and positive impact amplifies his attractiveness because it goes beyond surface-level traits. Women are drawn to men whose uniqueness is coupled with the ability to make life richer and more fulfilling. Finally, a man who understands his value and uniqueness naturally attracts women without the need for manipulation or games. He does not compete aggressively or attempt to diminish others to stand out. Instead, his authenticity, competence, and individuality speak for themselves. Women recognize the difference between superficial allure and genuine substance, and it is the latter that encourages them to choose a man even in a situation where many options exist. Respect and boundaries are essential pillars of attraction and long-term connection. A man who demonstrates genuine respect for a woman and herself naturally becomes someone she wants to choose, even when she has many options. Respect is not only about politeness or following social etiquette, it's about valuing her autonomy, opinions, and individuality. When a man approaches a woman with authentic respect, he communicates that he sees her as a person with her own thoughts, feelings, and desires rather than an object to be won or controlled. Understanding boundaries is closely tied to respect. Boundaries define what is acceptable and what is not, both in personal behavior and in relationships. A man who respects boundaries, his own and hers, creates a sense of safety and trust. Women instinctively recognize and appreciate men who honor limits, whether it's giving her space when needed, refraining from overstepping emotional lines, or maintaining consistency in actions and words. This kind of respect communicates self-discipline, emotional maturity, and integrity, which are all qualities that distinguish a man from those who ignore or challenge boundaries. Respect is also demonstrated through listening and valuing opinions. A man who genuinely considers her perspective, even when it differs from his own, shows that he acknowledges her individuality and intellect. This doesn't mean agreeing with everything, but rather engaging in open, honest, and considerate dialogue. Women are drawn to men who can handle disagreements respectfully without becoming defensive or dismissive. It signals emotional stability and a willingness to treat the relationship as a partnership rather than a competition for control. Maintaining personal boundaries is equally important. A man who knows his values, standards, and limits demonstrates self-respect, which is inherently attractive. Women are naturally drawn to men who are grounded in their principles and do not compromise themselves for approval or temporary attention. When a man respects himself, he sets the tone for how others, including a potential partner, should treat him. This balance of self-respect and respect for others creates an environment where a woman feels safe, understood, and valued, making her more likely to invest her attention and choice in him. Consistency in respecting boundaries builds credibility. Women observe not only what a man says, but also how he behaves over time. Actions that show respect for her time, emotions, and personal space reinforce trust and reliability. Conversely, inconsistency, such as being attentive one moment and distant the next, can create confusion and insecurity, making it harder for her to choose him over others. By demonstrating steady respect and honoring boundaries consistently, a man positions himself as someone dependable and emotionally mature. Respect also extends to how a man treats others in his life. Women notice behavior outside of their interactions, whether it's how he engages with family, friends, or strangers. A man who treats others with kindness, fairness, and dignity showcases his character and values. This outward respect reinforces the idea that he will treat her well, not only in words, but through consistent action. Women are drawn to men whose integrity and respectful nature extend beyond the immediate relationship because it indicates long-term reliability and emotional safety. Another crucial aspect of boundaries is balancing availability with independence. A man who respects her space while maintaining his own life and priorities shows that he is confident and self-sufficient. Women are more likely to choose men who are not overly dependent, clingy, or desperate for validation. Instead, they are drawn to men who are present when needed but have their own purpose, interests, and goals. This balance of connection and independence signals emotional intelligence and maturity. Finally, respect and boundaries are communicated through small but consistent actions. Listening actively, valuing her time, honoring promises, and being considerate all signal genuine care. Women recognize these subtleties, and they accumulate over time, creating a foundation of trust and admiration. A man who can consistently demonstrate respect and uphold boundaries sets himself apart in a context where many men may overlook or ignore these essential principles. Consistency and reliability are two of the most powerful qualities a man can exhibit when it comes to attraction and building meaningful relationships. Women are naturally drawn to men who are dependable because it creates a sense of stability, trust, and emotional safety. When a woman has multiple options, the man who demonstrates consistent behavior and reliability often stands out more than someone who appears exciting in short bursts but lacks steadiness. These qualities signal that he is someone she can count on not only in the present moment, but also in the long-term journey of a relationship. Consistency begins with aligning words and actions. A man who says what he means and follows through demonstrates integrity and trustworthiness. Women observe whether promises are kept, plans are honored, and emotions are expressed honestly. When a man consistently behaves in a manner that matches his words, he communicates that he is dependable and authentic. This builds a foundation of trust, which is a critical component of attraction, especially when multiple suitors are vying for attention. Inconsistent behavior, on the other hand, generates doubt and insecurity, often causing a woman to hesitate or look elsewhere. Reliability also involves showing up emotionally. A man who is emotionally present, supportive, and attentive demonstrates that he is not just there for convenience or fleeting moments. Emotional reliability means that she can confide in him, seek comfort, or share her experiences without fear of being dismissed or judged. Women naturally gravitate toward men who provide a consistent emotional anchor because it fosters a deeper bond and reassures them that the relationship is safe and dependable. Over time, emotional reliability strengthens attachment and makes her more likely to choose him over others. Consistency in small actions is equally important. Simple behaviors such as checking in, remembering important details, respecting her time, and being punctual all communicate that he values her and their connection. These seemingly minor gestures accumulate over time, forming a pattern of reliability that women notice subconsciously. It's not about grand gestures alone. Steady, thoughtful actions create a lasting impression that goes beyond superficial attraction. A man who is reliable in both small and significant ways signals that he can be counted on in all aspects of life. Another critical aspect of reliability is maintaining stability in behavior under pressure or during challenges. Life is unpredictable, and women observe how a man responds to stress, setbacks, or disagreements. A consistent and reliable man handles difficulties with composure, patience, and rational decision-making. He does not become erratic, reactive, or emotionally unstable. This ability to remain steady and dependable even in tough times reinforces trust and admiration, demonstrating that he is capable of being a partner she can rely on regardless of circumstances. Consistency also extends to long-term goals and personal growth. A man who pursues his ambitions, adheres to his principles, and works on self-improvement demonstrates a form of reliability that is inspiring and attractive. Women are drawn to men who have direction and purpose because it communicates that he can provide stability and a shared sense of progress in a potential relationship. When a man consistently invests in himself, it reflects discipline, dedication, and a commitment to living intentionally, which are qualities that naturally elevate his attractiveness. Finally, reliability is intertwined with trustworthiness in all interactions. A woman feels secure with a man who can be counted on to act ethically, honor agreements, and respect her feelings. This level of trust is essential in creating a connection that goes beyond temporary attraction. Consistency and reliability are not flashy traits, but they are deeply magnetic because they signal a man who is emotionally mature, grounded, and capable of nurturing a stable, lasting relationship. Subtle challenge and mystery are powerful, yet often overlooked elements in attraction. When a woman has multiple options, she is naturally drawn to a man who does not reveal everything about himself immediately and who maintains an aura of intrigue. Mystery is not about being dishonest or manipulative. It is about cultivating an inner world, maintaining independence, and allowing her to discover layers of your personality over time. A man who can balance approachability with a subtle sense of challenge stands out because he piques curiosity while signaling confidence and self-sufficiency. The idea of subtle challenge revolves around not being overly available. Men who are constantly at a woman's beck and call often appear desperate or lacking personal direction. In contrast, a man who maintains his own life, priorities, and routines demonstrates that he is independent and self-reliant. This independence creates an unconscious sense of challenge because it signals that he values himself and his time. Women are drawn to men who are not easily obtained because it ignites natural intrigue and encourages her to invest in building a connection rather than taking it for granted. Mystery also emerges from selective self-disclosure. A man who does not reveal every detail about his past, thoughts, or feelings at once creates space for curiosity and discovery. By gradually sharing aspects of his life and personality, he allows her to feel engaged and intrigued. This slow revelation process makes interactions more exciting and emotionally stimulating because she feels like she is uncovering something unique rather than receiving information passively. Mystery stimulates interest and deepens emotional investment over time. A subtle challenge can also be communicated through confidence and calm composure. A man who is unshaken by external pressures or the competition around him sends a powerful signal that he is secure in himself. This demeanor challenges a woman to see him as a strong and stable presence without forcing attention or approval. Women are naturally drawn to men who are centered and grounded because they feel emotionally safe yet stimulated by his confidence. This combination of challenge and mystery creates a magnetic tension that keeps her focused on him, even amidst other potential suitors. Mystery is further enhanced through passions, hobbies, and experiences that are uniquely yours. When a man invests in activities and goals that are meaningful to him, he creates an interesting life that she wants to learn about. These elements of individuality not only make him more intriguing, but also reinforce his value and uniqueness. Women are drawn to men who live purposeful lives because it signals independence, ambition, and the capacity to bring excitement and richness into a shared connection. The mystery of discovering what drives him naturally deepens her attraction. Another aspect of subtle challenge is measured communication. A man who responds thoughtfully rather than reacting impulsively creates a dynamic where his presence feels deliberate and considered. He engages with her interest without seeming needy or overly eager, allowing her to sense that her attention is valued rather than taken for granted. This balance between responsiveness and restraint keeps interactions fresh and engaging, strengthening emotional and psychological attraction over time. Finally, mystery and subtle challenge are reinforced by maintaining personal boundaries while remaining approachable. A man who has his own life, goals, and routines but still invests meaningfully in the connection signals emotional intelligence and self-respect. Women instinctively notice this balance because it creates tension without pressure, attraction without manipulation, and engagement without desperation. It is the delicate interplay of intrigue, independence, and thoughtful presence that often makes a woman choose a man over others in a situation where she has many options.